Okay, so today, first of all, a good afternoon to all my dear students. We are starting with Unit 1, which speaks about the meaning, the definition, and significance of Indian Constitution. So let's start with the introduction of Indian Constitution. Students, when I speak about the introduction, I'm going to explain you all the need for constitutional law. Now, mainly in order to carry out the different activities and functions, it is very much essential or necessary for the country as well as the state to establish certain basic organs, okay, through which the state or the country can easily operate or rather easily function. So, what happens is that when I speak about these organs, all the people in the state cannot come together at the same time to carry out the functions of the state. Hence, it becomes very much necessary to carry out the functions of the state for easy operation. Thus, certain fundamental, or you can say certain basic organs deemed necessary or becomes necessary. This creates the need for framing the constitutional law. See, if there is need for certain organs to carry out the functions of the country or rather state, there must be certain law to lay down how these organs have to be established, or rather you can say how these organs have to be functioned. It should also tell us what are the powers, what are the authorities. And this law is being found only and only in the constitution of the country. Hence, the purpose of the constitution, students, is mainly to understand the framework and working of the government in which the government runs or is established or has been working. Okay, so let's understand now what is the meaning of the term constitution. When I speak about the meaning of the term constitution, the word constitution has been derived from a Latin word which means constitute. It is a Latin word, students, which means to form, to establish, to have a better framework. When I speak about constitution, constitution is the fundamental law of the land. It means that when I speak about the word fundamental law in terms of legal language, it means that it is centrally important. Constitution of our country is being regarded as the basic law of the land. Students, it is the basic political document which explains the important nature of the government. It confers the fundamental rights to the citizens and it regulates the relationship between the government and the citizens. So you have to understand that, first of all, this is the basic law of the land. It is a document wherein you will understand what is the structure of the government, what are the functions of the government, what are the powers and the authorities of the government, and it also lays down the basic fundamental rights which are given to the citizen. When you have fundamental rights, you also have fundamental duties along with it. So it is a document which contains the fundamental rights as well as duties to the citizens. And very importantly, It regulates the relationship between the government and the citizen. Students, the Constitution of India works as an intermediary, works as an agent between the government and the citizens. It helps us to understand what is the working, what is the nature, what is the framework of the government of our own country. Okay, now when I speak about the constitution, it contains the political philosophy of the nation. That means we can understand through the constitution what is the political nature or what is the political scenario of the nation in future. Very, very importantly, it has been regarded as mother of all laws. You can say for all laws because all laws derive their sources and strength from the constitution. Now you have to imagine a tree wherein the constitution of India is the trunk of the tree, and there are several branches wherein the different laws are the different branches of that tree. You have banking law, you have business law, you have different criminal laws, you have different civil laws, etc. and etc. But when I speak about the constitution is being regarded as the mother because all the other laws are subordinate to the constitution. The constitution, all the other laws get their sources, get their strengths only and only from the constitution of the country. Hence, it is regarded as the basic or the fundamental law of the country. Now let's understand what is the definition of constitution, which is usually asked for 2 marks. Now, when I speak about the definition of constitution, students, there are n number of political thinkers who have defined the constitution in their own views or according to their own structures. But what has happened is there is no such exact or executive definition or exhaustive definition of constitution because some of the famous definitions have widely been accepted. But what has happened is when I speak about the definition of constitution, many eminent personalities have defined constitution in their own ways. So let's understand the definition of constitution according to C.F. Strong. Now, when I speak about author C.F. Strong, he defines the constitution as a collection of principles according to which the powers of the government, the rights of the governed, and the relationship between the two are adjusted. So here you have to divide the definition. First, you have to understand that constitution is a collection of principles. It is a body which is having rules, which is having regulations, which is having different laws, which is having different authorities, etc. Okay, it is a document which provides what are the powers of the government. It helps us to understand what is the working, what is the authority, what is the nature of the government, how does the government work. It also tells the different rights of the governed. Now, the different rights of the governed means what? The different rights of the citizens. And very importantly, you have to divide the last definition or the last part as it helps us to understand the relationship between the two. Now, between the two here means the relationship between the citizen of the country and the relationship between the government of the country. So when I speak about constitution, it is a body of rules, it is a body of regulations, it contains different laws wherein the constitution provides the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties. It confers fundamental rights and duties to the citizens, and very importantly, it adjusts the relationship between the two. It acts like an intermediary wherein it takes into consideration both the sides. It understands the nature of the government. At the same time, it protects the individuals of the country, the citizens of the country. Okay. Now let's see the next definition, which is given by R.N. Gilchrist. Gilchrist, sir, defines constitution as that body of rules and laws which are written or unwritten, which determines the organization of the government and general principles on which these powers have to be exercised. Now, here, when Professor Gilchrist is speaking about constitution, he says that he is concentrating more on the government. He says that a constitution is a body of rules. It is a set of rules. It is a set of laws. It is a set of regulations. Now, when I speak about constitution, students, you have to remember that there are several countries who have their constitution written, and there are several countries who have the constitution which is unwritten. Our country has a written constitution, whereas there are several countries whose constitution is not written. Example is United Kingdom, UK. Okay. Now what he says is, when I speak about constitution, it is a document which has rules, regulations, laws, which may be written or unwritten, and which helps us to understand or determine what is the very important nature of the government, on what principles does the government work, what are their authorities, what are their powers, how do they exercise and implement powers. It helps us to understand the entire working of the government. So when I speak in terms of Gilchrist, he is concentrating on the powers, authorities, rules, regulations in terms of organization of the government and working of the government. Okay, let's move to the next slide, which speaks about significance of the constitution. Now, to sum up this both definition, I'll just sum up in two lines. Students, when I speak about constitution, constitution is a set of rules. Okay, you can say it as a written rules or unwritten rules, which basically helps us to determine what is the nature of the government. It gives a detailed picture regarding the rights which are confirmed or conferred on the citizens of the country. And mainly, it acts like an intermediary between the government and the citizens of the country. So, very importantly, you have to understand that the definition has to include these three things. First thing, it is a set of rules, regulations, laws. Secondly, very importantly, it helps us to understand what is the nature of the government, working of the government, authority of the government, etc. Very importantly, it helps to understand or govern the relationship between the government and the citizens of the country. Now, here what is happening is, when I speak about the Constitution of India, our constitution is rigid. At the same time, our constitution is also flexible. See, we are going to study the nature of the constitution or what are the silent features of the constitution in detail. Okay, but just I'm going to give you all the introductory part, wherein I would like to tell you all that the constitution of a country is both. It is rigid also, students, and it is flexible. Now, when I speak about rigidity, it means that it is very much, you can say, rigid in terms of protecting the nature and the structure of the constitution which is already framed. But when I speak about flexibility, it is considered to be dynamic, because even though the constitutional law is already been framed, whenever there is a need whenever the present scenario changes, at that point of time, there are new laws being introduced in the Constitution of India, or there are some amendments or changes made to it. Now, when I speak about the word amendment, student, amendment means changes. In legal terms, when you speak about the word amendment, it means changes. So it is a combination of both, it is a blend of both. You can say the Constitution of India is very much rigid. On the other hand, you can say that the Constitution of India is very much flexible. Rigidity in terms of protecting the very nature of the constitutional law already been framed, or the organs already been framed, and flexible in terms of introducing or making changes to the existing laws. Now, when I speak about constitution, it is unitary in nature. That means that it is centrally bound. We have a centralized government. No doubt there is decentralization, wherein the Constitution of India is also federal in nature. Means when I speak about federal in nature, you know that we have a union government, that is a centralized government, wherein there are powers which are given to the central authority. At the same time, we also have different state governments. When I speak about state governments, the central authority decentralizes its power to the state governments, wherein you have council of ministers at the union level as well as the state level. So what I speak about constitution, when I'm speaking about constitution, I can say that it is rigid, at the same time it is flexible, it is centralized, at the same time it is decentralized, and it is enacted and evolved over time. Okay, so I have given you all two definitions of what is the meaning of the term constitution. I explained you all the meaning of constitution and definition of constitution. Now let's understand what is the significance of constitution. Now students, when I speak about the significance, you have to understand that you might get a question in your paper saying or questioning the write a brief note on the significance of constitution, or you can get a question regarding the importance of constitution. Importance and significance are synonymous, they are same. The words are being used in the same text. So you have to write answer accordingly. So let's understand what is the significance of constitution. Now, let's start with significance. Okay. Now, when I speak about constitution, students, it is the supreme law of the land. It is the topmost law of the land. You can call it as the apex law of the land. I already told you when I was explaining you the meaning of constitution. The constitution is the mother of all the laws. You have to imagine a tree, a trunk and its branches. So trunk is the constitution, branches are the different laws. So when I speak about it is considered or it is regarded as the mother of laws, you have to understand that all the laws which are existing in the country or in the nation are subordinate to the constitution. Hence, constitution is called as the topmost or the supreme law of the land. I told you when I'm speaking about the significance, it is the basic political document which helps us to understand the political scenario of the nation presently and also in future. When I speak about its political nature, students, the constitution of our country regulates what is the political nature. It helps us to understand what is the current political scenario of the country. Hence, when we are speaking about the significance or relevance of the constitution, you cannot sum it students in just few words because it is the supreme law of the land. It has n number of significance and importance in its own way. But for your general understanding, I have given you all around 7 to 8 points which helps you to understand why the constitution of the country is so very important. Okay, let's start with the point or first significance, which speaks about constitution creates the organs of the state. When I speak about constitution, in most of the constitution, we find that there are majorly three organs of the state. You have to remember this till this subject is over, not only till there, in your lifetime. Okay? The constitution, at the introductory part, I told you that in order to carry out activities, it is very important to establish certain basic organs through which the country or the state can easily operate. Now, here, students, there are basically three organs. First one is legislature, second one is the executive, and third one is judiciary. I'll explain you all in simple terms. When I speak about legislature, or organ called as legislature, this organ makes laws of the land. See, what has happened is already the laws have been framed in the constitution, and hence the legislature is considered to be the child of the constitution. I told you right in my last slide, whenever there is a need to bring in new changes, amendments, okay, or whenever there is a need wherein there should be new implementation or new making of new laws, at that point of time, the legislature organ or the organ called as legislature makes the new laws. So when I speak about legislature, you have to remember that this is an organ which makes the laws of the nation. When I speak about the second organ, which is called as the executive, students, this organ implements and executes the law. This has also been regarded as the child of the constitution only, because in case of constitutional law, there are different laws which are framed, they are implemented, and they are also already executed. So whenever there is a need for a change, the executives implements as well as executes the law, which is very important. See, the legislature makes laws. The executives implements and executes the law. The term executive only tells you that it is an organ which is mainly focusing on implementing and executing the laws. Now, very importantly, the third organ which speaks about the judiciary. When I speak about this organ, students, this organ interprets laws and applies it to the cases that come before it. In simple words, when I speak about judiciary, judiciary is nothing but judiciary are the different judges of Supreme Court as well as High Court. Okay, deemed necessary, maybe district courts also. But what happens is this is an organ wherein they interpret law. Interpret law means they understand the law according to the cases that come before them. So, judiciary is a bench of judges which understands and interprets the law. You can say judiciary as a temple of justice because it is the creature of the constitution. Legislature makes laws, executive execute laws, and judiciary interprets laws. That is, the judges tries to interpret and understand and apply to the cases which come before them. So the next significance speaks about the next point, that is the constitution confers powers upon the organ which is created by it. So the constitution has created all these three organs. Which are the three organs? When I speak about three organs, they are legislature, executive, and judiciary. Now, when I'm speaking about the second significance, that means that constitution confers powers upon the organs created by it. I'll explain you all in simple words. Students, when I speak about Indian constitution demarcates means directly makes differentiation, distinction, or you can say makes a quite good difference, demarcates the powers of the legislature, wherein it provides the differentiation or a division of powers between the union and the states. Okay. Now, what this Indian Constitution does is, students, it clearly mentions when the unions and the states have to make laws, when they have to make laws, and it also tells in detail regarding the subjects on which the laws have to be made. This is very important. It, no doubt, it clearly makes a difference, or it clearly demarcates or differentiates between the powers. What powers have to be given to the union, that is central, and what powers have to be given to the state. But the constitution of our country also tells on what particular subjects the laws have to be made. Okay, now the constitutional law provides very importantly a differentiation between the establishment of Supreme Courts as well as the High Courts. So here what it tells students, when I speak about it establishes Supreme Court as well as High Court, when I'm speaking about, see, the last slide, wherein I told you there are three organs of the constitution which speaks about legislature, executive, and judiciary. Here, the constitution of our India clearly tells that what laws have to be made and what changes have to be made and on what subject also. It clearly makes a differentiation between the powers of the central authority and between the powers of the state authority. Okay, same follows with that of the executive. Here also, the executive implements and execute laws according to the central authority as well as the state authority. Now, when I'm speaking about the third organ, that is judges, judiciary, students, the highest court in the country is called as the Supreme Court. And when I speak about the highest court in your particular state, it is regarded to be the High Court. Here also it makes the difference. What cases have to be presented in case of High Court? What cases have to be presented in terms of Supreme Court? The appeal goes on going high and high. Okay. Now when I'm speaking about the second significance, that the Constitution confers powers upon the organs created by it, it clearly mentions what are the powers of the central authority and what are the powers of the state authorities. Next, when I speak about the Constitution of India, it is regarded or it provides fundamental and other constitutional rights. I told you, the Constitution of India provides or confers basic fundamental rights such as the rights to equality, right to personal liberty. We are going to study in detail different articles of the Constitution in chapter 2, wherein you're going to understand what are the different fundamental rights and what are the other constitutional rights which are given to the citizens of the country. See, when I speak about this fundamental rights, students, the Constitution, you can say, also declares that these rights to be inviolable in the sense the state cannot violate these rights which are given to the citizen of the India. If you have a right to equality, you have n number of rights, fundamental rights. At that point of time, no authority can come between a citizen of the country and with the constitutional powers given in terms of fundamental rights to a citizen. No authority can violate the rights which are conferred by the constitution to an individual. Okay, so this is a very important nature of the constitution, wherein the constitution of our country provides the fundamental rights and also the fundamental duties. Next, the constitution explains the nature of the government. This I have already explained you all in terms of the definition explained in the first slides. When I speak about the constitution explains the nature of the government, for example, students, it helps to us to understand what are the powers, what are the functions, what are the authorities of the government. Now, for example, if you go to see the Indian constitution has a parliamentary form of government, right? Now, if you speak about US, okay, when I speak about US, it provides a presidential form of government, which is very different, okay? We have a parliamentary form wherein our constitution provides the nature of the government in the parliamentary form, which means that we have the country wherein we have the prime minister who is the head of the nation. We have different council of ministers. We also have a beautiful differentiation at the central level as well as the state level. We also have a president working for us, working for the upliftment of the country's economic and social status, wherein the constitution has a blend of both ministers, which is headed by the prime minister, and also the president of our country. So, what happens is when I speak about our country, the constitution is having or provides a parliamentary form wherein you have a parliament consisting of ministers, council of ministers, upper house, and lower house. Okay, let's move to the next slide. The fifth significance speaks about constitution may incorporate the principles of separation of powers between the legislature, between the executive and between the judiciary. Now what happens here is I told you that there are three different organs of the country, that is you have legislature, you have executive and you have judiciary. Now what happens is the constitution of India is incorporating the principle of separation wherein students, it all these three organs are separate, or you can say they are independent in nature. That means that, see, when I speak about the first organ, that is legislature, what is its duty? Its duty is to make laws. Executives to execute or implement laws. When I speak about judiciary, it is to interpret law. Okay. Now, all these organs are independent in their nature. No organ is allowed to interfere in the working of each other. Legislature cannot execute laws, executives cannot interpret laws, and judiciary cannot make laws. Is it? This is quite simple. See, what is the nature of the legislature? To make laws. It has to only make laws. When I speak about executive, the executive have to implement laws. And when I speak about judiciary, the judiciary has to understand or interpret the law. These three cannot interfere. As I told you, how it can interfere. That is, the judiciary cannot make laws, because what is the duty of the judiciary? The duty of the judiciary is only and only to interpret. So legislature cannot make interpretation, because the legislature has to only make laws. And when I speak about executive, the executive has only and only to implement law. So here the Constitution of India is very beautiful, wherein it gives a separate status or a separate standing to each organ of the Constitution. No organ should interfere in each other's working. Now, the next significance which speaks about the Constitution is superior to all the other laws of the country. I told you, the Constitution is the mother of all the laws. It has been regarded as, very importantly, the mother of all the laws. You can say that it is the supreme law of the land. When I speak about the Constitution, all the other laws which are existing in our country are subordinate to the constitutional law. Hence, it is the apex, or you can say the topmost law. Means here, students, what happens is every law enacted by the government has to be compulsorily in conformity, or compulsorily it should work hand in hand with the Constitution. Nothing can derogate the powers of the Constitution. Everything, every little law is governed only with the working of the Constitution. Hence, Constitution is regarded to be the topmost and the supreme law. Hence, the Constitution is called as the mother of all laws, because all laws derive their strength, derive their sources from this constitutional law. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when I speak about the last significance, that is, the constitutional law
Constitutional law
speaks about
speaks about
or lays down
or
the
lays
national
down the
goals and
national
values
goals
of a
and
nation.
values of the nation.
Now,
Now,
constitutional law
constitutional law
has a major
has a
standing
major standing
wherein it
wherein
speaks about
it
the
speaks
national
about the
goals
national
and
goals
values of a
and
nation.
values of a nation.
Now, what happens here
Now,
is,
what
students,
happens here, students?
just 1 minute, just 1 minute.
Minute, just 1 minute.
Okay, now when I speak about the last point, that is, the Constitution lays down the national goals and values of the nation. Here, when I'm speaking about the national goals, the very important nature of the Constitution is to lay down a democratic country, to have good socialism and national integration. And when I speak about a democracy, each and every citizen has a right to vote, has a right to elect, and to have or to create a socialistic environment wherein all are treated equally in terms of social and economic status. This is a very important nature of the Constitution. And last one, the last value, which speaks about national integration. There is no discrimination made on the basis of caste, religion, creed, gender, etc. So, the Constitution of India lays down major national goals in terms of unity, wherein its main focus is to have a socialistic country wherein there can be a good national integration and unity among the people. So with this, I would like to conclude my today's class.